And welcome back to the Football Fanatic podcast. We're on episode 48. Gents, how we all doing? How was your weekends?
All
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 right.
good.
good.
Good
All
day.
good there. Quite enough.
Dan was in college, Moss was doing tug of war, and Howard was house sitting. Sorry.
Yeah. Still
Yeah,
am. Still am. Dog
still
sitting.
dog sitting. Okay.
I'm in the house.
So what do you call it? Yeah, good. Another good weekend of football. No real surprising results, to be honest. I mean, Liverpool, Arsenal, and City all won. I suppose Spurs kind of, I was about to say Spurs result, but that wasn't overly surprising, to be honest. It's just kind of Spurs doing what they do, to be honest. They don't really, what do you call it? Ange has got them playing for a few games and then they go and do kind of what they usually do, you know.
Yeah.
Did you,
Spursy.
Spursy basically, did you any of you watch that game yesterday?
Yeah, I watched the game yesterday. Watched the first half and it was like, geez, Spurs look unbelievable. And
Yeah,
this
they did.
high line from Brighton was leaving them so exposed and they just had chance after chance. And then Brighton, I suppose they went 1-0 down and deservedly so, or Spurs were 1-0 up. And Brighton kind of started kicking the gear a little bit to start to look a little bit dangerous. Danny Welbeck missed a good chance. The one or two, and then they got hit them on the counter really with Madison's goal. Keeper was disappointing, I suppose, for
Yeah.
Brighton. But stroll into half time, like you're like, Jesus, this is very comfortable, very comfortable as they were going into half time United anyway. And they
Yeah.
were only 1-0 up in that case. And then the second half just blew my mind. Like, listen, they conceded the first goal. And it was like watching United again. You just knew by the way they had no leaders, no one taking on the ball. Wanted to slow things down, or even a few cynical tactical fouls to slow it down. Get it
Yeah.
solid at the back. None of that. And like for Van der Ven getting all his plaudits going forward, he was very weak in a couple of challenges, and
You see,
um,
Doggy as well, Massey. Doggy had
yeah,
after a couple of them goals was at fault
kamikaze
as well.
stuff, really.
Yeah.
Like ball straight across into the 6 yard box. He swiped at it like it went through. It was awful defending. And he was very out of sorts in that second half. And I think the most upsetting thing was that kind of felt like Spurs were building a bit of resilience. Like they got this
Yeah.
man sent off in the Europa League, and they'd bounced back and won, and then they'd won at Old Trafford, and they had won a good another comfortable win in the Europa League again this week. And then they just were 2-0 up and coasting. And it's kind of felt like they were like, oh, we've just won. And they just switched off. And when they just weren't able to turn it back on. Like,
It's like they're
just,
yeah, it's like it's something in their DNA. They're afraid to kind of take that next step. You know, they've always been
yeah.
kind of hanging around that kind of third to sixth kind of area for a long, long time. Always kind of never been able to kind of go, more.
On that, yeah. And you kind of felt
Yeah.
like that was why Andrew was nearly so despondent afterwards. It was like he's trying to get this winning mentality across in this fight. And there's some signs of maybe some sort of progress. And then you get hit with that. Like
Yeah.
You,
Brighton are a good team, but Jesus,
you,
the Spurs was a
you
far
wonder
worse
though,
team.
don't you? You wonder with him like you're 2-0 up away from home. You know Brighton are decent enough side, even though they weren't great in the first half. But like he still obviously has his principles. You know he'll always stand by that. But like
Bit naive, is he?
well, you can argue, but that's the question that will come up when something like that happens because they have as high a line as Brighton have. Like the two of them are just, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's risk reward football, and when it goes wrong, which went wrong for Brighton in the first half, and then went wrong for Spurs in a terrible way second half. I suppose whether or not they could have just been a bit more control of the game and push a couple of yards back defensively, you have a 2-0 lead. There is that argument. I think I read a thing about that Spurs conceded the most, or the team with the most losses from a 2-0 lead in the Premier League. I
Wow.
think they've 10 or 11 or something times they've been 2-0 up in games and have lost something. I think I read it the weekend as well. So, as you said, Deck, it's something that's kind of, you never seem to be comfortable if you're a Spurs fan with a lead. But I just wonder whether or not like that question would be asked of them. Like, and then even when it went 2-1, when it went 2-2, then it just seemed like you knew Brighton were going to get another
Yeah,
goal.
yeah.
That
It's
feeling
inevitable.
that
Yeah.
yeah, that they get one, and I kind of suppose it's that whole kind of thing where we see a lot of time in the Premier League where a side goes and gets a big result away from home, and then can't follow it up, and that was
Yeah.
the case there,
True.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. And I suppose we started with Spurs and Brighton because that really was the only kind of major, call it a shock, but kind of upset given the way the game had kind of panned out. But elsewhere, Liverpool, City, and Arsenal all recorded victories at the weekend, and I suppose going into the international break, it seems like we've had fecking a few of them at this stage. It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Is
Yeah.
it the second one, isn't it?
Second one, yeah.
Second
And
one, yeah.
there's another one in November. Like, it's ridiculous. But yeah, Liverpool find themselves on 18 points after 7 games. City and Arsenal on 17. I suppose what I wanted to start with was Liverpool being top. Has it been stress-free start for Slot, or have they been properly tested yet? That's kind of wanted to focus on first of all. Dan, I'm gonna go with you. Just so far, 7 games in, what have you made of Liverpool? Have you been happy? Are you still kind of wondering, Slot, does he have a lot more work to do, or are you happy with what you've seen so far?
I think there's a bit of element of both there, because just on the first point you made around the suppose the fixture list at the start of the season. I think for Chelsea and Liverpool in particular, I think their starts were probably more generous than some of the other big sides. But like, I suppose you would have said the United game would have been a big game away from home. Palace was one that I thought was dodgy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a difficult enough ground.
It was
to
dodgy
go
as
to.
well, I suppose, then at times.
Well, it was in the last few bits, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose to talk about, like, just in taking it as a general, like, the fact that we're keeping so many clean sheets. Games are more controlled. Like, it's not what we haven't played well in all of them. Like, and then like the Forest one was a blip. Like, we were well beaten on that day against Forest, and I think maybe that was a bit of a wake up call. But there's been a few results where they haven't played well, but they've won. And I think maybe potentially sometimes in the Klopp era, we would play badly, we get that. Because we wouldn't have that kind of more of a solid back four. So yeah, I definitely think like, I'm surprised where we are, to be honest with you. I think even someone with the most positive or Liverpool fan wouldn't have thought we'd be top of the table going into the second international break, I don't think.
Yeah.
Even though he did inherit a good side. But they're playing well. I think injuries would be, I think, a big blow for us if we were to get a few key injuries, because I don't think the depth on our bench, when I look at it in the attacking areas, it's okay. I think midfield we'd struggle a bit if we were to pick up a few injuries. McAllister seems to pick up niggles now and again. Don't have a natural replacement for him, and he's an excellent player. And even at the back as well, I'd be concerned if Robertson gets a few niggles. I don't really fancy Tsimikas long term to have to play a run of games. Even Allison now has picked up, that's his second injury, and he's picked up a few last year as well. So
Yeah.
there is, like, I think the biggest question mark for Liverpool is going to be what happens with the three amigos who are at the moment running down their contracts, and what's going to happen with them, because the three of them have been exceptional. Salah's been off it maybe the last couple of games, but he starts the season so well. Van Dijk is just looks solid as always, so composed. And then, like, Trent had started the season really well as well, and you're like looking at it going, that's going to be the question mark there, because as that rumbles on, that is going to impact on the squad. If that goes into January, and then there's talk of clubs. There's already been a talk around clubs being linked. Of course, they're going to be linked. But
what do you see happening with the three of them?
I wasn't happy with what I heard this morning, which was that Kanata and Kwanzaa, they're about to sign new deals, and that they're at a stalemate with the other three. Like, the clubs are talking to the representatives, but that there's nothing. There doesn't seem to be anything really coming. And if you think about it, I suppose from a business point of view, the three of them, of course, are going to see what other options are on the table. Of course, other clubs are going to be touch a base and seeing what they can offer. So there is going to be that when you get to that last year, and that's the problem. If you let players get to the last year of your contract, as we all of our clubs here would have seen over the years, like, you don't have, the club has no power. Like, the power is with the player once it hits that last year. But I am very happy. I think Gravenberch in particular, and McAllister in the midfield have been excellent. Like, Gravenberch again at the weekend was just exceptional. There was a couple of times there he's taking on the half turn. He's now flicking it over lads' heads and running onto the ball, gliding. Like,
He's evolving.
Honestly, when I know what, genuinely, it's like something you'd see in fucking FIFA. Some of the stuff he's doing in the midfield, like he's football, yeah. The confidence that he's playing with is exceptional. He's been brilliant. It was nice to see a kind of Jota get a goal as well. That was a real Jota goal, I thought, at the weekend. Played really well, I thought, for about 60 minutes, and then again, I think it was nearly too easy for them, and they didn't kill the game, which they should have killed it. They killed it for a long period of it. They killed it possession wise, but they had a couple of chances. They should have finished it off, and they could easily have dropped 2 points there. Palace had a couple of good chances, but very, very happy all in all. But I do think that will become a distraction around the. You have to remember that, like, them three are part of the core kind of senior members of that squad. So my hope would be that they'll all sign back on, but I'd be doubtful now, especially what I kind of was reading today and listening around it, that there just doesn't seem to be
Do you
offers are
preference
being
then?
offered.
Any preference out of the trade?
I
Which
think
one?
Trent, because like value wise, you have
Yeah.
Trent. Trent is only what is he 25, 26, like
So when is his contract
you
up?
know.
It's in the summer.
Freedom are up in the summer. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think from that perspective, I think value wise, him.
Trent,
I think
yeah.
of the three, if I was going to say which one you'd probably,
Was it a
I think you go on.
no, I'm just thinking while you're talking there, like, was it a bit, I won't say stupid, but like bad business of Liverpool's management team to allow all three to get to this stage?
Yeah, I suppose the excuse being that there was a lot of movement around. Like Edwards had left. There was a director that came in for 6 months. He was really just filling the gap before we got a new sporting director, and so there was kind of a period of time that went by there. But they're right, like somebody has dropped the ball. But I
Yeah,
suppose there is a like Liverpool that hasn't happened over the last number of years. Everything has been
yeah,
kind of been
very
on the
true.
ball with everything. But I think that's kind of the reason that has happened. Plus, then you had the whole Salah. I remember Saudi Rin, the 100 million and all that kind of stuff. They gave him a kind of you just I suppose that like that money obviously is gone now. That ship is sailed unless you were looking at a January scenario, which I can't see happening. I think like Salah and Van Dijk owe us nothing. I think I said that
Yeah,
at the start of the season. Like they don't owe us anything that way because we've definitely got value for money out of both of them. But it'd be a shame to lose. I think Trent's the one. He's the key asset for me, from the point
yeah,
of view of financially. I would keep Van Dijk. If you ask me Van Dijk or Salah, I'd keep Van Dijk over Salah because I think we can get goals in the forward areas. You have a lot of attacking players that can get goals, maybe not to the level of Salah, of course, but I think it's at centre back. Like we've had so many bad centre backs throughout the years, and
yeah.
he's
Now
one
you have
that's
one. Yeah,
he had
uh,
he in fairness this season he has been excellent again, and I think Kanate alongside him has really impressed me how good he's been. So look, we have a big test coming up. Just to the final thing I'd say in it is like we have to play Chelsea at home, which
I was
they're
just
they're
about to
they're in
say, like,
decent form. Yeah,
the next four Premier League games: Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, and Villa.
Villa, and then on
Mm.
top of that we've got Leverkusen and Madrid in the Champions League.
Europe,
So
yeah.
there's
Or
a
Leipzig, is it? They've Leipzig.
We've Leverkusen. Well, we might them as well. Yeah,
Sorry,
Leverkusen
you've Leipzig
and
before the Arsenal game anyway. I checked that one out. That's
yeah, and
away.
then yeah, that's right. And then there's Leverkusen and Madrid in the next while as well. So
Jeez, yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of big games, and then we play City again as well in about 6 games time. We're at City,
Yeah,
or no, City are at Anfield, isn't it?
start of
City are
December.
at
Yeah,
Anfield, yeah.
yeah.
So that's going to kind of tell, I think, a lot more. We'll know where we're at. Like, we go to the Emirates, which is going to be a very difficult game. And I think the Brighton one as well. I think it's going to be tricky. Just they're a tricky customer, Brighton. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a good start, but like I still reckon Champions League. I wouldn't be talking league talk. If they manage to get to Christmas top of the table, then it's a different conversation we're having. Would be my opinion on it.
All right. Howard, coming from Arsenal's point of view, 7 games in, third in the table. Sorry, yeah, third in the table. 18
Third.
Joint
points.
second.
Joint second, if you want to go with that. Fair enough. 17 points, a point behind Liverpool, joint with City. What have you made of your start to the season?
Yeah, I think look based on the fixture list, if you look at it in comparison to Liverpool's one, like it was a lot trickier. We had Brighton in there, then we had Villa, Tottenham, and City all away from home. Like so, I think to come out where we are with them fixture lists and with like let's say your few sending offs, the Rice is banned, Odegaard's been injured. I think overall, I think they'll be very happy on where they are. Like I think
Has
Arteta, yeah.
has
Go on.
anyone? No, I was about to ask. Is I have a player in mind? Has anyone stood out for you so far?
Yeah, I think I know who you're thinking of. I think Trossard has been the clutch player for Arsenal over the last few games, like the goal against Leicester, and he's just one of them players that like he just arrive in the box, and he has that killer. He's moved ahead now. Remember, there's a time Jesus was there, and he was maybe the second number 9. Like even I think if Havertz was to get injured up top, I think you'd have to put Trossard in there ahead of Jesus now at this
Yeah,
stage.
and that's actually another thing I was
Class.
kind of looking at and reading online as well. Like Jesus has very much been pushed down the pecking order.
Yeah, and you can see it in his game. Like his confidence is
Yeah,
just is slipping away. I think the injury he got that time when he went off the World Cup, he hasn't come back. He fully. He's electric. He had a bit of he's lost a bit of pace. I think an inch or two of pace, from that injury, and I think that's really affected his game. And I think the arrival of Havertz up front, it's hard to drop him and
He's
bring.
been excellent. I have
He's
to
been
admit
brilliant.
that.
Like, like that's like for me, like
Dan, we have to admit it. He has been
No,
good.
I've said it here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I changed my
yeah,
opinion on it,
he's
and he works like
yeah.
a dog as well.
He
Yeah.
He's
is.
moving
He's an
off the ball.
absolute,
Yeah,
yeah, and like he
yeah,
gets his head on everything, defensively
yeah.
and offensively. Like
It's a great
the
finish the weekend as well.
great finish, like an
Yeah.
RVP finish, like like not getting ahead of ourselves, but like I did have him down for potentially 20 goals of the season this year. Like, so let's see how he goes with that. If he can have a consistent run of games, like he's not fully playing up front, but if he can get a consistent run of games, actually fully up front when Odegaard comes back, because what's happening is he's playing up front when they have the ball. When they don't have the ball, he's coming back in the field and doing the pressing that Odegaard would have done. Like, so.
When is he
It,
back, Howard?
he
Odegaard. What's the story
Odegaard,
there?
I think I from gauging what Arteta said and what originally prognosis is, he'll be back after the international break. So
Right.
they're definitely going to try and get him fit for the Liverpool game. I think is the aim. Like,
I can wait to the one after that.
yeah, you might arrest that one out. So but look, overall, they're very happy. I think the only thing I would say is our defensive record at home needs to improve. I think we're shipping, we're being. I think it's more of a concentration thing. We just seem to be a bit off the ball when it comes to, your Leicester at home, Southampton even there at the weekend, like giving away like silly chances, silly and like not killing the game off or not dominating the game, kind of like just passing it around, assuming we'll just get a goal eventually. Like I think we need to be a bit more brutal with our finishing and with our defending at home. Like, and I think if it kept going that way, we're gonna drop points. We're gonna drop points in the Emirates, which would be a killer. Like, if you're to lose the league by dropping points at home, that just shouldn't happen. Like, so I think that's the only worry from an Arsenal point of view, is that they have that to make sure that they have that fortress in Emirates anytime someone comes, and that they don't
Yeah.
let it slip from that aspect. So, but look, overall happy. I think at the start when I saw Odegaard get injured and then Marino was out straight away as well, and then our whole midfield was pretty much gone. Like, and then to come back to where we are now, is 1 point off. I think is very good. And the one last thing I think is that City don't look like, with Rodri gone last two
Mm.
games now. I don't think City are the same animal, so I think Arsenal really need to grab it with both hands. Like, look, that's not to say Liverpool won't be thereabouts. Like, Dan is saying, oh, they're delighted to be there where they are, but like, they did hold on till whatever March it was last year. It's the same squad of players. It's not okay. Klopp effect is gone, but you have
Yeah.
new manager bounce. I predict they'll probably drop off a bit, but like, you don't know what Liverpool, like, once they start getting into the swing of things in Anfield, they can become impossible to beat. Like, so,
Yeah.
you wouldn't rule anything in or out, like, with them either.
I would yeah, I'd agree with what you were saying there about Rodri, especially a very, very different team without him. We
Mm.
have some good players. Seen Kovacic at the weekend. He stepped up. He got two very good goals. Nice to see him kind of doing the defensive side as well as attacking. But yeah, it's quite obvious that there is something kind of there's a big kind of gap without Rodri in the middle. So again, like Fulham at home, it should have been a lot more comfortable than it was, despite Fulham's good start to the season. So yeah, I do have kind of reservations about kind of City going for five this season without Rodri, because yeah, kind of the second he went down, you're thinking if that's his ACL, there could be trouble. Regardless, if we did spend in January, I don't think we should. But even if we did, I don't think there's anyone out there that could come in and replace him. So yeah, I will be worried, to be honest. We spoke about it last week about Arsenal being favourites. I would agree with that still. Moss, I suppose, as the neutral,
Neutral, yeah.
anything to kind of not talk about Man
Are
United.
United not going for the title now? Okay, Tevin.
United are actually fighting at the other end of the table.
2028, Howard, 2028.
Can I just
Yeah.
say though, just as well, that I think anytime I watch them anyway, even when he won and stuff on the weekend, Kyle Walker, I think, is still at the World Cup. Is he? He's still on the fucking beach somewhere, because he was horrendous as well against Newcastle. He's had a few performances anyway when he's got into the side, and I don't know. I think he's one now that I
Traore
think
should
he
have had a
can
hat-trick.
get at him.
He's
Traore,
oh yeah,
go on.
Traore. If Traore could finish, Jesus Christ.
Like, all he needs to do is just push the ball past the keeper, and he's
Yeah,
in. Like, he tries
yeah.
to kick the ball at the keeper each time.
It's like he
Yeah,
aims
but,
for him, isn't it?
It's like he is. Pep might buy me if I miss here.
It's odd. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ, he has pace, power. If he could finish,
Yeah.
like, I mean, he'd be,
Composure,
he'd be fantastic. But he cannot finish. Whatever it is when he gets in front of the
Like,
goalie.
he is what he is, though. Like, you know what you're getting with him. And to be
Yeah.
honest, only for his other attributes, most players wouldn't have created the chances he did.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
He
fair,
wouldn't have
yeah.
got into that position.
Yeah. I
What's it
think that
called?
City, I think, like City don't have a world class defender. They actually none of their defenders I don't think are world class, but they had like probably a monstrous, like probably one of the best players in the world in front of them,
Yeah.
and that's what I think.
Yeah.
I think he can get at them. I don't at that back four, whoever you want to put in there, Stone. None of them are world class. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Moss, I
I
suppose
wouldn't
that's
I
a
wouldn't be
neutral.
as
Like, what do you think?
concerned about City as you seem to be. This is typical City start of the season, like as in they started well, which is unheard of for City. Usually they're pretty dodgy for the first
That's
10
true,
games.
yeah.
And then they start to get into the groove, and after Christmas they're a different animal. And yeah, Rodri is a big miss, but there's still serious quality in that team. And there's not many teams that they won't be able to outscore, like realistically, and they'll keep so much of the ball, they won't have to do a whole lot of defending. I wouldn't be as concerned as I think this is typical City this time of the year. A little bit off the boil, waiting for all this full strength to come back. Like Kyle Walker, as I said, has been nowhere near his level, but maybe part of that is some of his pace is starting to go and he doesn't really know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be concerned. I do think in Arsenal's case, if I know Howard Trossard has been immense, but I honestly think Saka is going under the radar at Arsenal for how many goal contributions he he contributes to that team, and like all the talking about the set piece thing, the set piece delivery from Saka is
Oh, it's insane, yeah.
consistently unbelievable. I think he is the linchpin, or very, very important to that team going forward.
Ah,
Like,
like
he
of
is the
course,
one.
like when I said Trossard, like he's probably the one that stood out. But like if I was to pick between the two of them, obviously, Saka would be the first
Yeah,
name on the team sheet. Like, and if we lost him, if you lost him, you take an injury to Trossard
he would be
ahead of Saka,
comparable
right?
to Rodri for City. I think he would
Yeah,
be
equivalent.
definitely
I
sort of the likes.
100% agree. 100%
Yeah,
agree. Yeah,
and they don't have another player that can play. They were
no,
talking like whether they don't have actually another left footer
proper.
coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
can play that side.
No,
And
it'd be a
again, Saka,
massive, massive loss. Yeah,
and he
And
works
his
like a dog as well.
consistency level
Yeah,
is insane for the last 2-3 years. Like he's
yeah.
yeah,
like
absolutely.
assists, and he's just very consistent and
And
a
he's not
great worker.
flashy. Like he's
No, he's
just
not.
consistent. Yeah, just very
When
consistent.
they say flashy, who's the player that's out playing keep ups with Conor McGregor?
Did you see that?
Trying to get on TV with like this idiot, But anyways, no, just
Yeah.
saying, Howard, flashy.
No, I didn't like seeing that now, to be honest.
Yeah,
Did you
you
say you
know.
didn't like seeing Conor McGregor start to kick him? I was like, what are
Yeah,
you doing?
yeah, it's like
That's
step away.
injured.
But yeah, but
Uh,
anyway, Wasi, what do you think overall in the grand scheme of
And
things?
since I have
yeah,
no horse
say
to
right.
say,
Seven games in. I mean, who have you been most impressed with of the three?
I suppose surprising in that the Liverpool were the most surprising in that I thought it was going to be I expected City and Arsenal to be kind of going at it straight away and competing as the top two really, but um, Liverpool have really impressed me in the style and the controlled manner, which I would expect may lead to them having less injuries than they might have had previously under Klopp because it's not as gung ho. So that might stand to them. My only concern, I kind of have a few reservations. I think my reservation, Arsenal, is that they tend to make life hard for them, concede a silly goal and then have to come back, and
Yeah,
they're so good at coming back. What I think they could just do with grinding out a few like 2-3-0 victories and just
yeah,
that be that,
agreed, yeah.
and have more of them than they've had. I felt like last year they had a lot more of them. Liverpool are fantastic creating chances. I would be small bit concerned how clinical they have been in that, like they could have had 4, 5, 6 against United. They could have had same against Crystal Palace. They've had chances again in that Nottingham Forest game, and even though they were poor, they could have finished them off. I just feel that the AC Milan game they created a ton of chances that they weren't slotting home. I just be small bit concerned as they get to them come into a more difficult run of fixtures. They need to be a little bit more clinical. Um, and City then without Rodri, that's your concern. They're your reservations, but like I still think I would. I started the season I was Arsenal, and once we started into it, I was like, I'm going to go back to City. So I still floating between two, and Liverpool. You don't know if they'll maintain it, and that's kind of where I am with it. But yeah,
Uh,
that's my
fair
judgment
enough.
call. It was
no,
somewhat
no,
neutral.
that's fair enough.
Disgrace, Massey, you're disgrace.
We'll go to the other. We'll go to the other end of the table where Marcy has been keeping an eye on.
Keep an eye. 5 points was it? 3 points off relegation.
I know, yeah, it's
Fuck me.
crazy. No, so I mean, relegation contenders, 7 games in. We have Wolves stuck to the bottom, Southampton then, Crystal Palace, Ipswich, Everton, and Leicester. And 2 points after Leicester are Manchester United. But anyway, I don't consider them in a relegation battle. Um,
Yeah.
of the three
You haven't
teams, I
watched them enough.
suppose. Yeah, I know, I know. Of the three teams, I'm sorry, of those 6 teams, would you all agree that the three going down are within those six, or is there anyone else you could see slipping down into?
No, yeah, no, I think that'd be fair
Three.
from Leicester down. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, from Leicester
Yeah,
down. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Leicester
yeah,
down.
Yeah.
yeah. The rest will be okay. Yeah, the rest.
So I suppose like Wolves obviously and Southampton only have a point apiece.
Mm.
What do you call it? Of those six, have any?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Howard.
I think Everton will be all right. Like, I know we've got a bit of guff here, you know, at the start of the season, but like they do, like players like they do have some decent players. Like when you think of like the teams that came up, and you look at the Wolves team as well, like they're a lot more at it, I think, than and that had Brandweight coming back. Like I just think we're very quick to jump on the Everton are going down relegation. They're losing all these games. They lost.
I think it's because part of us would like them to go down, just
Yeah, I
to
think
kind of.
maybe, well, yeah, maybe the Liverpool fans here would like them to go down, but no, I can't see it happening.
Yeah,
I
but in
don't
fair,
think.
in fairness, in fairness, to start of the season though, it was just because they like what was it? The Spurs got absolutely hockeyed by Spurs. Then they dropped like a 2 goal lead against Bournemouth. You know what I mean? Like, as in
Yeah, no, they
what
drop. Yeah, but
it
like
was
to even
it was
get the
warranted
two
to say
goal.
it.
Yeah, I know, but I get that. But like, if you're comparing it, you're comparing them to actual, relegation favorites who can't even put the ball in the back of the net, kind of thing. You know, at least they're actually doing that, and they're. I think they're a level above your Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton. If I'm being honest, that'd be my personal view. I don't think now unless they completely fall off the rails and just stop playing ball. But like, they ground out a good result against Newcastle there at the weekend.
Yeah,
I just think, even getting into leading games to throw it away is still something. You know what I mean? Like, so
Jesus.
yeah, no,
I'm
honestly,
just
like,
looking here. They have to go away to Ipswich, away to Southampton, in 2 of their next 3.
yeah, so
That'll
that'll
be
tell a
where
lot. That'll
it
tell a
will.
lot. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that'll tell a lot. But
What have you
yeah,
what
go
have you
on.
made of Wolves? Were you
Oh,
expecting
very bad.
more?
Very bad. God. I thought to be honest, you called it at the start, Dan, didn't you? You kind of mentioned that they could be someone to get roped into it, but I can't
They
believe
sold
how
their 2 best
bad.
players
Yeah, I
again,
can't.
like Kilman
Yeah.
and Neto, like, and then replaced them. Yeah, and like done last season. I think he done an unbelievable job last season, considering again the same scenario of selling players and not really getting
They
decent players
brought
in
in
to
your
replace
man
them.
from the Brazilian squad, is it Andrea?
Andre, yeah, we were linked with him. Yeah,
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 so like
yeah,
he hasn't hit the ground running, but like it's always dodgy when you're taking players off different leagues and expecting them to just jump in and
Yeah.
fill like Nunez's boots or Pedro Neto's boots and stuff like that. And I think at this time it's now maybe it'll click
and,
in a few weeks
yeah.
time, but
Any team that concedes 5 goals to Brentford, who aren't a big,
oh,
if you're conceding 5 to Brentford,
I saw
regardless,
the highlights of that.
you're going to be in trouble. Like,
They were so bad. Like they
yeah,
couldn't like they could have been way more than five.
Yeah,
Like
but
Brentford missed a host chances.
yeah,
like
yeah,
it
yeah,
would be too
yeah.
like I don't feel like I feel like Gary O'Neill is kind of doing the best he can, like as in
Yeah,
they
yeah. He's
sold
getting
him and
mugged off though. He is.
He is, yeah.
He
like he
is. Yeah,
needed like the
yeah,
center half. I thought it was a strange decision to go for like maybe Johnson is a slightly better keeper than Sa, but like to spend your money on him when
That was a
they
weird one.
clearly needed
Yeah.
a centre back, I thought was a weird call. And then second game of the season, one of the centre halves got injured and he's out for the season. And they're so light in centre
Johnson
defence that
doesn't fill me with confidence now anytime I've seen him. And the last
who?
Johnson.
Oh, Johnson. No,
he
I
doesn't.
actually would prefer Sa, but it was debated that maybe he's marginally better, but like he was a fault for some of the goals this weekend. Like, and
He was, yeah.
then going
Yeah,
forward, my only hope for Wolves is that they seem to be able to score, and like if you can score, you'll give yourself a shot, and they have scored plenty of goals. It's just their defensive issues have really hampered them. Like,
They want
Yeah,
to they want to start picking up points quick because I
yeah.
mean, whatever about the first 7 games, but like closer you get to Christmas, and if you're still just kind of,
Mm,
picking up a point here and there, I mean, you're going to turn into, remember that season Sunderland only picked up like 13 points
yeah,
for the
brutal.
whole year. I mean, you could very easily just get yourself into a rut and then you're completely cast aside. So Wolves are at the bottom. Southampton, I'm not overly surprised that they're
they're going to be into the bottom three, surely. I
yeah.
think they're for me they're nailed on.
Likewise, yeah. For whatever
Yeah.
reason, I can't get kind of even regardless of bringing Ramsdale in, I don't think they have done enough to make them kind
No
of
goal threat. Like they
yeah,
have no goal
absolutely.
threat. Like that was Archer, like even against
Yeah,
Arsenal,
yeah.
that wasn't probably the highest percentage of goal to go in all the time. Like
Yeah,
and
man, they've a guy, good
it's
lad in the wing, Tyler Dibling.
Dibbling,
Dibley,
yeah,
yeah, young
Yeah,
lad,
he's
yeah.
been impressive. He's only an 18-year-old lad now. Well, in the
making
games
his
there at the
debut season.
weekend,
Yeah,
I've heard
yeah.
people chatting about him online, and then when we saw him in the Arsenal game, he looks like a bit of a young Jack Grealish. Is
Oh,
the
really?
ankle the socks down by the ankles and the way
The
he's
tiny little shin
the
guards.
tiny little fingers. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he looks like a player, so that's one to keep an eye on. I'd say if to go down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Southampton next. After them, Crystal Palace. A little bit surprising to see them down there. Dan.
Yeah, no, they were very. I thought I couldn't get over how bad they were for 60 minutes against us. They were atrociously bad, and I watched them a couple of times. Eze doesn't seem to be at the same level he was. They obviously lost
Yeah.
Lisa, brought in Sar, they brought in Nketiah, and then there was a weird kind of thing because Mateta was at the Olympics, and then he had just come back, and kind of, he was dropped at the weekend, which I thought was strange because when he came on, he was a handful. He is a handful. He's a decent striker. And then even defensively, they're not solid at all. Where usually think with Allison as well, like that Anderson and Gay.
Anderson was a
Uh,
big loss, I think,
yeah,
going
he
to
was. Yeah,
Fulham,
yeah, he
and even
was.
Fulham looked much better with him there. Like I
Yeah.
think that's a huge.
Yeah,
And Lacroix or whatever his name is only kind of finding his feet in the league. I
he's
think.
only that's it. Yeah, and I think your man as well. What you call him? Your man Wharton, who everyone was
Adam
praising
Adam
Wharton,
last
Wharton,
yeah,
he's just
season.
had
he
a
hasn't started the season
poor
great at
start of the
all.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's carrying an injury. They said at the weekend he's carrying something, so he was taken
Yeah.
off after 60 minutes. And apparently he's playing with an injury as well because he just when you watch them doing that as well, you think of last season like they were unbelievable in the last period. They were scoring goals for fun. Mateta was banging in braces. You had the front three there, as Elisa. Where just when you're watching them now, they're flat. Like there's not
Yeah.
much to get excited
Yeah, but I
about.
think you can expect that after the results that they've had. They've had such a poor start to the season. There was
Mm.
an expectation for them to be challenging for Europe, not being in the bottom
Yeah,
Mm.
bottom
yeah,
3 or 4. Like, and I think I've watched a good few bits and pieces of Palace. Like they've missed an awful lot of chances. They've had a bit of bad luck. I feel like they're going to click into gear. They're going to
yeah.
get
They
that
won't go down.
result,
Don't go down
and
the island. Yeah,
they're wouldn't be one I'd be concerned about really. I think Eze has missed an awful lot of chances.
Oh,
yeah,
Like
yeah.
an
so many. I
awful
had
lot.
him on my FPL team. It's just heartbreaking stuff. Like, God,
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to get rid of
And
him.
He's missed a lot.
You
Yeah.
seem to be
Yeah.
getting heartbroken every week, Howard, eh?
Well, I had a good week this week, but we'll get there, I
We'll
suppose.
get to that.
I think bring big Rob Holding, get him his first appearance with Crystal Palace. That'll solve the issues.
Fair enough. What do you call it? So
They don't
above
have a
Crystal
good run of games. I
Palace.
was looking there. They don't like Palaces to start picking up points. They have to go away to Forest, home to Spurs, away at Wolves, then they're home to Fulham, away at Villa, and then home to Newcastle. Like it's not the
Well, that's
It's not
rough,
easy,
definitely.
but like
it's
to be
not
honest, there's
easy,
not
but
too many games that you, as Palace, you'd be like, oh, I will definitely have points there.
They
Like so,
sometimes do better
yeah,
against the better teams, like,
they yeah they just need like the again they need to start scoring goals. Because last season they were scoring them for fun.
Yeah.
like I
Everything just
suppose
seems to be a bit flat.
if you look at what Elise is doing in
Mm,
Bayern Munich,
Yeah,
that's some quality to have lost from that team. Like
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
And your man Sarr is the replacement. You know what I mean? That's
good
like
call,
Nketiah
player.
has been playing in across the front three as well. If Mateta has played, like so, the main
yeah,
reason they dropped Mateta at the weekend was to give Nketiah a chance
Through
because
the
there was
middle, yeah.
a lot of like
yeah,
complaints coming from the Palace. Well, that was what the talk was that he should be played through the centre, and that was his opportunity.
Right.
There on Saturday,
Um,
like
no, fair enough. Ipswich. I don't know for whatever reason. I just
Massive.
there's a feel good
Massive.
factor about Ipswich, isn't there?
there
There's
is.
It's the
little.
United factor. That's it. There's a bit of a Man United factor with Ipswich.
Mickey, so we have to feel good about something now.
They're good.
McKenna
They're
is
good.
there,
They're
like
good to watch. I mean, sorry
yeah,
to
and
cut
like
across you, Mossy, but Liam Delap has kind of been. He's had a fantastic start to the season.
Brilliant, yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And I
Yes,
think,
yeah,
do you know the way, like we talked about Company last year and how he didn't change. He's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
sticking to my principles and all this kind of stuff. Nearly putting himself in the shop window. I feel McKenna, if from what I watched of Ipswich last year and what I'm seeing him this year, he's definitely compromised
Mm.
his way of playing to try and make them to benefit the club and get them to stay up, which I respect. I think they've bought well. They have people who can score, and like I think Delap looks like an excellent purchase. And they have some creative players in around them. with Omari Hutchins and Clark and a few others, and even a bit like they're keeping the Irish connections of Begne, I can never say his name.
Yeah.
Begne on the bench, and like they're not phenomenal. Like there's
Yeah.
clearly there are players there who were playing League One 2 years ago, like that they are still part of their squad. But I feel like they've got a good vibe about them. They're they've picked up workman-like performances and stole points here and there.
Yeah.
And if they can just keep tipping away, get that first victory, I think that like the likes of that Everton game or that at home, like if they could really target those and get 3 points here and there, and keeping relatively consistent, improving. Like this weekend was the first weekend that they really just they shot themselves in the foot repeatedly all this weekend. Like straight away, Calvin Phillips gave the ball away, and they were 1-0 down. Like it was
Your
like he
mate,
had
that
God
they have
he's
a
lucky
working
PTSD from playing for West
You
Ham
ruined
there
him.
last year.
You
Like,
ruined him.
he just was awful.
they have a working team, like the names on their team, like Greaves and Davies, like they're all these like workhorses. Morrissey, Johnson, O'Shea, like Clark. It's all these kind of guys that are just like they're
Working
nobodies, but
class.
they're working class.
They're nobodies.
They're nobodies, but together they're somebody.
Jesus Christ almighty. Okay.
You're right though. There's looking at how like Mossy, like they have Everton and Leicester and 2 of their next 3 at home.
Yeah.
So like
At
if they're
home.
going to stay up, they have to win them then. Like
Yeah.
They need 3
Yeah.
points at home in those
Yeah.
They
next
haven't
games.
won a game yet. They've drawn a lot, but they need to get some 3 points on the board.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Spoke about Everton. So final team, Leicester. Do you see them being in trouble, or will they start to pull away?
I think Leicester, I have out of the 3 of them, the most likely
To
to
go
stay
down?
up.
Or stay up, okay.
Yeah, stay up. I just think that, well, from their experience in the league, Vardy still has a trick in him.
Honest to God, yeah.
He's
Brilliant.
still going. I know. I think like you compare them against Southampton when Arsenal played the 2 of them. Like Southampton are a very poor team. Like Leicester, they have a bit of nuance. They've Ndidi. They have a few players that are like have a bit of quality.
The fella from Brighton that scored at the weekend.
Yeah, Buenanotte there.
Jesus.
Yeah.
He's only, was he 19 or something? And your man Diddy on the other side, like they're a handful. Them 2 lads.
Yeah, like they're decent. Like, yeah, exactly.
Do you know what's weird though, isn't it, that the Leicester fans were already kind of putting Cooper under pressure? You think like,
Yeah.
like where do they like? I don't know. Yeah, like it's early
He
days.
was a man. Like he did manage one of the Midlands rivals. Like, and I think it's like
true.
Poch going to Chelsea. Like, as in he was on an
True.
uphill battle against Chelsea fans straight away. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's something
Yeah.
similar there. And like, to be honest, he's such a moaner, and he complains about everything after every game. Like, he's not a very likable character.
Yeah,
in interviews
he
anyway.
looks kind of always pissed off. He looks always pissed off and confused, doesn't he?
Looks,
Like,
yeah, he doesn't look like a
It
manager.
makes Howard complaining about referees.
Yeah,
Look like
absolutely.
Howard's on cloud 9, like, as in it's.
He's a face for radio, as I say.
Absolutely. Where is Kelce and Inacho?
He's a free transfer. Did anyone ever pick him up? He was gone.
That's a
Free
good
agent, I
question.
think, yeah.
Is he gone?
Yeah, no, he was gone. He was free transfer in the summer there. Yeah, he was a
Like
free
you
agent. Yeah.
look at some of their players, like the heavy man Edward
Didn't go
that used to
anywhere.
play for Crystal Palace. He was on the bench. He's decent. Harry Winks, obviously ex-Spurs. Then they have, in midfield,
as
like
well,
Jordan Ayew, who was actually, I thought Jordan
Yeah.
Ayew was one of the best players for Palace in the last few years.
Good player.
And then they have Vardy and Didi, Oliver Skip from Tottenham.
Skip.
So
Yeah, that's right.
So like they do, like you compare that to your Greaves and your Davies from Ipswich, like there might be a bit, Johnson. There might be a bit more about the Leicester team than.
Well, he got a club actually. Sorry, I'm just looking there. He got a club.
Kelce.
Got a club. Yeah. He's at Sevilla.
Sevilla.
Decent club.
Interesting.
Decent club, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a kind of relegation contenders. Wolves and Southampton need to kind of get moving quickly. Yeah, I kind of still Wolves, Southampton, and I don't know, something about Everton. I just like to see them go down. Because they've been there for so long, just
They've been threatening, all right, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways. It's just a Dyche just like he just this is what happens, and then they go on a run where they just start grinding out a few wins. He kind of I think that's a massive part of him, where you have the likes of the managers that have come up. Fair enough, Cooper has managed in the Premier League before, but like you're looking at the other two going, if you get into that running and there's 6-7 games to go and you're in that fight for survival, you'd be having your money on an Everton and maybe even a Gary O'Neill if they were in around it. Though potentially get their clubs out of it, maybe over the inexperienced managers too.
Yeah, your man
Yeah.
Russell doesn't fill you with confidence, would he? Your man from Southampton. He looks like a wreck on the side of the pitch, like in his trackies. He's there. He's like he works in JD Sports, like the way he's going around
And
there.
he's
Oh,
bitten
very
every
good.
fingernail he had down to toenails nearly this day.
Yeah, yeah. There's nothing professional about him, but anyway.
Uh, he looks like a wreck. Okay. Man, Howard. All right, listen. What's he gone? The last few hours, you will all have seen that City have kind of gained, in my opinion, a very good victory over the Premier League. I don't know what your thoughts are. Um, Basically, the whole kind of decision that has been made is that the Premier League rules regarding associated party transactions were unlawfully made on the basis by the Premier League in 2 counts. So I just wonder, don't want to spend too long on it, but just wanted to get your opinion, Howard. I have a feeling that you have a few things to say on this. So by all means,
I
take.
know. I suppose I have a bit of information on what it actually means, and it's I suppose not as massive thing as people might want to throw their hat on. Like, the bottom line is that this was to do with the associate third party rules. So basically, getting sponsorship deals done. Basically, the Premier League wanted to say, right, if it's fair market value, we'll allow it to happen. If it's not fair market value, we won't allow it to happen. That's kind of the bottom line of it. And it
That
was
was that was one of the things.
so that's what
Was
yeah,
there?
that's the main thing. So like it wasn't just that though, right? It's in that City were arguing that um the like the way the analysis was done by the Premier League
Yeah,
who come up with the fair market value was that the club that were going for the spotlight, let's say City, weren't allowed to review the Premier League's reasoning of coming up with the fair market value.
and they weren't given enough time to do so as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's being shut down, and that's been Premier League saying Grant will change that aspect of the rule. And then the second thing was, yeah, the shareholder loans.
Yeah.
So basically that
I thought that this was a very kind of, sorry again for cutting across you. Just this is the one that I kind of thought that the Premier League kind of shot
dropped the ball.
themselves, yeah, really shot themselves in the foot over. And I didn't, again, like we're all kind of looking at this as outsiders, but like I didn't understand it until I really read the report today. Basically, the whole shareholder loan thing was that like City were arguing that they should be included in these whole associated party transactions, and these shareholder loans are like, say, if an owner puts money into club, basically gives the club a loan, an interest-free loan, and these were not part of the associated party transactions, whereas City were arguing that they should be.
Yeah.
And that's where the independent panel found that the Premier League were unlawful, that they should be included as part of the transactions. And for example, if they were included as part of these transactions, well, then a whole host of clubs would kind of fall under this umbrella where their owners have put money into the club this way, as opposed to
Yeah.
kind of via sponsorship. And one of the clubs who have done this is also Arsenal. Okay.
Yeah.
So Arsenal's owner would have put money into the club, given the money club
They would
loan.
have given him a loan, yeah,
Yeah.
interest-free loan. Yeah.
So I suppose where I was coming from the point, why wouldn't that be considered an associated party transaction? That's like, it seems a fairly self-explanatory that like that is a form of kind of revenue that comes into your club. It's from one of your stakeholders, so that surely
You
should
still have to
be.
pay it back, like
I
it's not
pre
just
I,
money,
pre I
yeah.
appreciate that absolutely, but like surely the Premier League could or should have recognized that as like a valid transaction that needs to be included within these rules. The fact that they didn't, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Like they're coming across as very kind of stupid to the
Well, you
fact that.
see, the thing with that rule, the shareholder one, is that that's the rule with UEFA.
Okay.
That like you're allowed to have a shareholder loan. Your shareholder's allowed to loan their team interest-free loans. Like that's going by UEFA, and that's why I think people are a bit taken back by the result of that one because it kind of goes against what the UEFA rules
Yeah.
already are. But look, it's like I don't think like in the grand scheme of things, the shareholder loan thing isn't going to be a massive deal now for any club. Like what I heard is like they can just turn it into equity. So like the shareholder will just get the money back in equity rather than having to put it back on as a financial issue with the club. Like so, I think what I was keen on seeing is from the 115 charges
Yeah.
is if the the APT, the associated party, third party business, if that was actually, if the rules were going to be shown as not actual illegal rules, pretty much for that whole process, and it was just, as I suppose, that it was that new rule that came in for Newcastle when Newcastle got bought in, which was the analysis of the fair market value, which was the part that was the issue, or that they found was the issue. But the whole third party rule stays the same, where it's not, they actually agreed that it has to be in place for competitiveness in general. So that probably, from the 115 thing, they're not like they didn't overturn the whole rule,
No.
which was what I think people thought when, remember, there was murmurs coming out at the very beginning that they had overturned the whole rule, which means that
Like,
the whole third party thing wouldn't even be a thing. Like, the management of that wouldn't even be a rule. So therefore, all the stuff that City did previously that had involved sponsorship deals would be fine, because that whole rule would be thrown out. But that's not actually what happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
so Howard, is it a thing that the rules that they brought in that were voted on, like, so City went against the rules that they'd already had contracted to, isn't that right? That
Yeah,
rule that
they were in the room for that. Yeah.
So whatever it was back when it was 12 clubs or 13 clubs that had had agreed to the rules that they were bringing in, the change in the rules. But am I right in saying, or wrong in saying that the rules actually are getting tweaked, but they're pretty much still,
Yeah,
the majority
exactly.
of the rules are still
Well, that
being
rule,
pushed
so that
forward
rule
with.
of the fair market value, that, like, let's say a City say, look, we have a sponsored deal, we think it's worth this. The Premier League goes, oh wait, no, that's not the fair market value. What used to happen is that, wait, no, that's not the fair market value. It's not allowed. Well, what's happening now is City will be allowed to counter that and say, you have to tell me why it's not allowed. Why is that fair market? Like, give me a reasoning why. Tell me why, rather than just saying it's not worth it. Like, we want to rebuff. So one other last thing I'd say is the big thing from this will be the money that City might claim for it. So
True.
there's a big talk of because City were denied sponsorship deals, because the Premier League said it wasn't fair market value, even though that rule of, like, how they analyze it and came up with that is going to be thrown out, that part. So that means that, like, City could have got 150 million deal there,
Yeah.
that they didn't get because of that, which was unlawful based on the new laws that are coming in now, and that City will sue the Premier League for that money that they lost out.
Financial loss.
So there's talk then of, like, they're sure if they get relegated, like, this could be part of your settlement thing. If you're going in, then you're like, right, well, you already owe us 200 million from the other lawsuit. Hypothetically, that could be part of it. And also, there's
Sorry, no, I was just wondering, do we have any idea, like, is it just City that were denied sponsorship deals, or were other clubs not allowed to do any deals? Like, because if it was the case, well, then surely that opens up
a whole can of worms. Yeah. No, that's a good question. I don't know. I know. All I know is City were looking down that route.
It sounds to me like it's a bit of a non-story, to be honest. Like, it's like, in the larger scheme of things of what we're dealing with here, it's like,
it has no bearing on the 115. Like, that's the main thing. It has no bearing on the 115 charges.
Yeah.
But it does show, I suppose, a chink in the armor of the Premier League that, look, maybe their rules aren't 100% foolproof, and that's partly. That's why City came out saying, "Oh, we won." When, if you look at it, they actually they lost 7 out of they won 5 and lost 7 of the things that they brought up. Like, you know what I mean? So
right, yeah. It's
But it doesn't set a good precedent that the Premier League lost to Leicester. They've been
lost to Leicester,
defeated against here, like, and now they're going into the biggest case that they've ever had in terms of 115 charges. Like, it doesn't exactly portray a very.
That's another angle of looking at it. It's the optics that basically, okay, this small fight that took place in August, is like a manifestation, like, of the huge fight that's ongoing at the moment, and, like, you've had the same two kind of players on both sides taking part, and it's going to go the same direction to an independent panel, and it's basically shown that in 5, you said, was it 5 cases that we got right and 7 we didn't get right, Howard, was it?
Yeah.
So basically, City have shown that, like, they have the kind of legal kind of team in place to kind of win some of the battles. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. So it depends.
You win the most serious ones, that you'll be fine.
But this is it. Like, it's like, so you cannot just argue. It's like, grand. We'll let both of them go and we'll just take a lot then. Do you know what I mean? Like, is it like, are they looking at this like it's like these are two little small minuscule ones? Yeah, whatever. Literally nobody will remember these. The Leicester one, I'd have forgotten about the Leicester one. Mossy had said it like that's irrelevant. That really is. And this one as well. No one will be talking about this.
I
I
don't
mean, like,
know.
as in,
I have a
I don't
feeling
know.
that this is kind of bigger than you're making it out to be, man.
No, I don't think so. Yeah,
That's okay. Look, I know where Dan's coming from. He's trying to play it down as kind of, a non, like it's a nothing situation when it absolutely is. Like the base of the Premier League have kind of the city have made the Premier League to look, amateur. And in relation to this huge case that is ongoing at the moment, the optics are that like City have they might not have won anything big, but they've shown that they can kind of take the Premier League to task, and the Premier League have not acted as professionally as they.
on a minor thing.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
It's not minor at
like-
all.
Like if you use the
They're-
word amateur is the word used there.
Yeah.
Amateur. So basically, what Howard had said there is that the rules are going ahead, but the rules are pretty much going ahead as planned.
No,
One or
there's
two tweaks.
no.
Hang on,
Yes,
no,
tweaks.
that is exactly
There's
that's exactly what
there's
it
going
is.
to be amendments.
Yeah,
There has to be
Yeah.
amendments based on
Yeah.
these reports from Sky Sports, like.
Like
And those
it's not
amendments-
like a win, a proper win for City would have been the rule. The rule would have to be overturned and completely was null and void. Like that would have been that would have been the big win for City, and that's something that they would have tried to get in it, but that was rejected. So the rule of the third parties and how they're actually analysed is. As a rule, is still a rule,
Yeah.
and City
This-
wanted
this-
that to be thrown out. So that, like in that case, it is a win. But they got the new part of that rule to be changed.
Yeah, this
and
is
that's
exactly. Do you know what this is, Howard? It's exactly the same as when City were guilty, but because of a time bar, they didn't get done by UEFA. It's like, oh, this is a big win. It's not a fucking big win. It's like there's a couple of amendments, tweaks to a rule that was brought in. Like it's not this big,
there's
massive
two
win.
very different statements from City and Premier League. Like City,
Yeah,
the Premier
yeah.
League are saying they're delighted with the way the tribunal went, and then City are saying they won the thing. Like so, it's all as you said, Deck. It's optics. But like
Yeah, I get that.
optics
I get that.
will only optics will only get you so far in the court of law. So let's
Yeah, but I get that. Like you have
let's
to
see how that
say like
goes.
it's I get that part of it. Like in the media, you have to. But I don't. I just again, from what you just listened to you both talk about it, all that I read about it today, I just don't think it's this big massive
Silver bullet
thing.
Deck, yeah.
I don't. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not. I don't think it is. Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
No.
Moss, do you have anything further to add before we move on?
No, I'm here wondering whether Man United have fired their manager yet. So
Fair
I'll
enough.
be time to go in there, and I'm interested in this now. Like if they fire him, are we able to
Yeah,
move on to this topic? Sorry,
let's
are we-
have-
There was
let's-
talk of a meeting after the game. Was that? I heard murmurs of a meeting after
Yeah.
the Villa game.
Can I ask the question, Massey? Because I kind of was messaging. We were messaging earlier on just in the WhatsApp. And the question I wanted to ask was, like, if they get rid of Ten Hag, like, is that conversation's been happening? It's been happening for a while, going back to last season. So it could just be all smoke and mirrors, and we come back at the international break and see where it goes from there. But if it was a thing that they decided to give him the job as well, like as a Man United fan, like who is it that you wanted? Who are the? I read about Allegri. I read about Tuchel. I know they met Tuchel last summer. Like Southgate was mentioned. Hasn't been mentioned in the media that I've seen in a while.
don't even
But-
mention Southgate, right?
Yeah,
I
but just I suppose
I
the
think
question is who.
I just have to boycott them. Like I could not watch them if it was fucking
But
Southgate.
who do you think? Like let's talk. Right, Eric. You made your.
It depends what
feelings
you want to
clear enough.
talk about, Dan. Like, do you want a realistic answer of who we could possibly get, or who would I like?
Both.
If I like someone that is up and coming, that is new, or like someone that like the
McKenna.
lines of Alonso, someone like Thiago Motta,
Yeah.
someone like that, who I think we should have. And for last year, when Thiago Motta was leaving fucking Bologna, that would have made a load out of sense. He was up and coming. He was playing a new style. He's a big reputation in terms of as a player. He's well known that he could lean on a little bit, and you could pull from that. I know he was coming from Italy, etc., but at least it showed some sort of innovation. Southgate is appalling. Like the fact that he's even being considered it is the most. Like he got Middlesbrough fucking relegated. Like why would he want him? Like he played terrible football. You just sat back and invented it. It'd be an atrocious.
I think
Tuchel
because
is
he's a yes man, isn't it? That's why I
He's
suppose.
mates with Jim. He's mates with Jim, so surely
Is
he'll get
he?
the job.
well, yeah. Well, stop fucking giving me a horror story. Like, I actually would be
Is he good buddies with Dan
awake
as
at
well, isn't
night,
he? Dan and Jim.
rocking back
They're
and
buddies, aren't
forward
they?
if I fucking.
Gar, Jim, was it Gar, Jim and Dan out for an old pint?
Do you think Mossy's saying 2 weeks when the Premier League comes back, Ten Hag will still be there?
No,
No,
Oh,
really? Okay.
interesting.
I don't. I think I
Rude.
don't see any improvement. Like, there's
Right,
literally no improvement. He keeps talking about improvement.
Yeah, I
and
know
nothing
he
has
does,
changed.
doesn't he?
4 clean sheets, Mossy.
The-
4
yeah,
clean sheets.
4
Scored
clean sheets
5
away
goals.
from
Yes,
home
you
or
fucking
something.
do need to improve. Like, everybody knows what the issues is. They're not changing. Like, fairness, players, they fought, they came back against Porto at the draw. Like, they put in a solid defensive performance, I suppose, against a lackluster Villa. But, like, we're still having the same conversation we were having a year ago. And
Yeah.
he's still he's got an atrocious record. We're in 14th in the league. We've scored 5 goals, and we're expecting it to change. Like, it's just not going to change.
When you say it like that, it really doesn't sound like Man United. Like,
It doesn't sound great.
No.
have you
Sit
only
with on the
scored
fucking
5
stick,
goals?
Like,
Have you only
goals in the
scored?
Premier League.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Talon scored double our fucking our
Yeah.
entire team's contribution. Like,
Fair
it's
enough.
alright. Like, and
I don't actually know how to respond to this. Like, just kind of
then,
go.
then you're saying
yeah.
leave, and like if I go back, I suppose you're saying Tuchel and stuff, and like Tuchel has a great rep, but like he's combative, and it's going to implode within 18 months to 2 years. So you're back in the same scenario. So part of me is like, do we just plod along with him and show the
Yeah, you
players
need to
that
get
you
rid of
can't
him
just
now.
get rid of
Yeah.
a manager every 2 years? No one's got 3 years. He's a month off being end of November.
He knows. I think he knows. You can tell in his interviews. I know he's clutching on. He's clutching for things, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's clutching. Like
Actually,
he
I
knows
actually
himself.
wondered
He should be
when he-
gone. Like
when he put Johnny Evans and Maguire protected by Kobe and Christian Eriksen, that he was like, just hammer us. Please just get me fired and let us get
Yeah.
hammered. That was a genuine thought that I had when I looked at that team selection. Now, Johnny Evans had an amazing game and they turned out great. I don't know. It was a Drenal
there
draw.
was
and it was
talk that
relatively-
he played the players that believe he could really, because it was, if he lost the game, he was up
like,
shit
why did you
creek.
play
So
those
like
players?
he was like, I'll play the old folks, the lads who go to war for me.
Yeah.
And
No, fair point.
and it came true for him. But like, it's just like like from a rival fan thing, like it's just like you can see online, they're actually laughing at Ten Hag. They're like kind of like, like,
He is the
oh
meme,
yeah,
isn't
keep
he?
him in the
You
job,
shared
he's
a
doing
thing
so
today
great,
about
blah blah
Domino's.
blah. Like when it's just pure
Yeah, like,
sarcasm.
you literally put up a thing today that Domino's had a sign outside Old Trafford looking for managers and high-end positions, and they're like, "Don't apply Ten Hag." Like, outside Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Like,
That
when
was
you've
good.
got to that level that Domino's Pizza are able to take the piss out of you outside of your own stadium, you need to be fired. Like,
Yeah. What do you call it when Rashford went off yesterday? Like, there was a clip. I don't know if you've seen him. He's kind of saying the words, "He's gone mad." Now, whether that's in reference to Ten Hag or not, I don't know. But it's online. Have a look at it. It's
He
there.
should have been sent off yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think he should have got a second
Definitely.
yellow, yeah.
Um,
So then, right, so you talked about the ones that you think. So then, saying Tuchel, like, who are the realistic ones? Is there anyone in the Premier League? Like, so say you're talking about like other managers that have done well in the Premier League, but haven't obviously had an elite club, but the likes of well-regarded
I'd
ones
take
like
Thomas
Thomas
Frank.
Frank. Yeah, Thomas
I think I'd
Frank.
take
Or
Thomas Frank.
Graham Potter was on recently there on Sky.
I've seen, at least the Graham
Yeah.
Potter, you can say, well, he tried a big club and it didn't work. And he
Yeah.
doesn't have the personality. Like, at least Thomas Frank has a bit of charisma about him. He's tactically quite adaptable, but can play a good brand of football. And I'd be much quicker to give him an opportunity than
I could see that, actually. To be honest, I could see him at United.
Anyhow,
he's pretty good at media as well. Like,
Great haircut.
possibly a good fit.
Like in
Really a big jump.
reality,
It's
what's going to
different.
happen is Van Nistelrooy is going to be there till the end of the season. Like that's
Yeah, that's
the
he's
realistic
going to be
thing.
given a crack at the whip as well. Like that was part, I'd say, of the assistant manager role that he got.
But
so
like, it looks
that's
from an
yeah.
optics point of view, that looks like literally I came in, I undermined the manager, I got the job.
I saw a clip of them shouting or disagreeing with each other on the sideline there as well about tactics and
I think
stuff.
part of that is United though, like, because there's such media scrutiny. Many times you've seen Arteta arguing or Pep.
Oh, I know. I think
and it's just because it's United.
it wouldn't be bad if Ten Hag's scenario isn't Ten Hag's scenario, as in like Rude is coming for his position. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it looks kind of bad if that was the side story.
Yeah, you can see the headline on the back page, kind of Ten Hag gets sacked. The headline is A Rude Awakening.
Yeah,
In,
yeah,
in comes Van Nistelrooy to the hot seat.
He
17
rules his
million to get rid
appointment.
of
Yeah.
him as well, wasn't it?
Really?
They said it was
Oh,
17 million, I think. Wasn't it? That's what I somebody said it was a
He's
Neville. Somebody said that
one
the
year in his
weekend.
contract, so that seems like an excessive payoff. Like
Which,
they only
yeah.
extended it by 1 year.
yeah, but I don't know. That's what Neville. It was Neville, but somebody now who was on about the fee it was to get rid of him.
To be fair, it does soften the blow of getting fired. Like,
Definitely. All right, we will move on. Dan, fantasy football. How are
Yes.
things looking?
Fantasy football. Yeah, so I think we still have Paddy Carney going into that's back-to-back international breaks. He's still leading the way on 469, and he's 3 points ahead. Oh, no, I'm the right one or wrong one there now. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
yeah,
he's 5 points ahead of Christian Palmieri. Yeah, it's very tight at the top there. Just the front
Yeah,
four.
it is
There's
actually,
6 points between the front four. There. Yeah. So there's. I'm just looking to see now. I think Howard, was it you had Saka as captain? Was you
I did, yeah.
who
I had a
captain
good
Saka?
news
Yeah.
story, yeah. I jumped leapfrogged our friend Dan there, and
in 16th,
Yeah.
Dan, or in 16th, Howard. Come on.
yeah, I got 70 points.
Yeah.
The Saka
But
captain got like 2 assists and a goal, so
Moss, you stayed in 12th.
yeah,
Who else from last season? I'm just trying to recognize Shane Durkin. I see he's up in 7th. Andrew Curley
he's going
still
well. Yeah.
popping his head at 14th. Where are you, Dan?
I myself, Massey, I think, and where are we? So Massey is where's Massey? Massey's 12th.
12.
Howard's
Yeah.
16th, and I'm 21st, and there's a whole 9 points between the three of us.
Oh, very good. Are we
Hello,
doing the
Dan.
same
Play my
thing
wild
this
card
year?
yet either.
No,
Dan hasn't played a
Whoever,
wild card yet, yeah.
No, I haven't played my
whoever,
wild card yet.
whoever,
I went to
whoever.
another Halland free week, and I was a bit gutted though because I was either Salah or Saka, and Salah actually has an unbelievable record against Palace, and I just thought that Southampton could just make it a small bit difficult for Arsenal, that they mightn't go and do what
Yeah,
Saka
Odegaard
did.
missing as well can take away
Yeah,
from
I
that
just
side
had
as
a
well.
feeling. I was like, yeah, that could potentially be, not that they would win, but yeah, I went for Salah. So if I had have done the opposite,
It's
yeah,
a roll
lost
of
the
the
cap.
dice, like, you know.
In fairness, though, like there wasn't that many. Like most people captain Haaland, so like whoever
Yeah.
had Saka as our captain, which was a few in the group, had a look. You in our fantasy league, like that was a fairly big win, especially with Palmer only getting a few points, even on assist.
Yeah.
So a lot of people jumped in and put Palmer into their team,
Yeah, I put him in,
which is an interesting one because they have a tough run of fixtures coming up as well. So there's a bit of that, I think, where there's that knee-jerk reaction happens to fantasy football where you have a bad week and then you see players done really well and you go and you throw them into your side. But I think the likes of Palmer, there's a few that a lot of people transferred in, the likes of him, who actually have a tough run of games coming up. You've kind of missed the boat with the easy fixtures that say Palmer would have had with Chelsea. It's not to say that he won't go out and do well, like he's a quality player, but yes, it's going to be interesting to see. I still haven't brought Haaland in. City have a nice run of fixtures though, so I'll have to look at that and see what I'll do. But I might leave it as is for another week because I think Chelsea are quite open. And Liverpool could get a few goals at home against Chelsea. But yeah, that's the table there, and we have an international break now, which always causes carnage as well because you'll be hoping and praying that players in your team don't get injured between now and then, as well. So. Yeah.
Very good. And just a reminder as well, the eventual winner of the Fantasy Football League will win a jersey, a club jersey of their choice. And just given that the three of you are kind of 9 points off, so I'm kind of thinking again this season we should do the winner. There has to be some sort of kind of victory between, or some prize for whoever comes out on top of the three.
The one with the loser of the three has to buy the
yeah, or yeah,
that's fair enough.
Yeah, we'll go the other way. So, we'll come up with
Deck's already lost.
Yeah, Deck, we need to get on to you. We go on to Super Six here because your mentality, the weakness, that you showed here, it's like we can talk about Man United, we can talk about Southampton. The real weakest mentality here is sitting on this screen and looking
Spursy, like.
I know. Super Six. Just before we go into that, the fixtures for 2 weeks' time: Man United and Brentford. We'll go with Dan. Give me your prediction for that one.
Could Thomas Frank be sitting in the opposite dugout?
Right, Jesus.
I go 1-1.
Okay. Howard, Newcastle and Brighton.
Oh, I'll go 2-2.
Has a draw written all over it.
Mm.
Fulham and Aston Villa, Moss.
It's very difficult to call because Fulham are home.
And they're doing all right.
They're doing well, yeah.
Yeah, and I was very impressed with them against City. Like they easily could have been in that game, even won it with some of the chances they had. But I think I'm going to go with a draw, 2-2.
Okay. Bournemouth versus Arsenal. I'm gonna Dan.
I go 2-0.
Bournemouth
Arsenal.
away or at home, by the way. So it's away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go 2-0 Arsenal.
Okay. Moss. Wolves versus Man City.
I think that'll be triple captain Haaland for that one.
Okay, very good.
4-0, 4-0 City.
Okay. And then finally, Howard, Liverpool versus Chelsea.
Oh, good one.
Hey, very good game.
Chelsea.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go
Liverpool are
Chelsea,
home,
yeah.
aren't they?
4-2 Liverpool.
I could see something like that happening, you know that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Chelsea just are so bad at the back, but they always score a couple of goals.
Yeah. All right, very good. And again, the winner of the Super Six in May will be the recipient of €100 cold hard cash.
And it won't be Deck.
And it will not be me, and I'll tell you why it won't be me, because I have a memory of a goldfish. I forgot a couple of weeks ago to do the predictions, which is fair enough. Everyone's allowed one. Then at the weekend, what do you call it? We were chatting about the Super Six predictions in the WhatsApp group, and then that was like Friday, so I had all Friday evening to do them. I forgot to do them.
And you also stuck it on the Instagram story to remind people to do it.
Yeah, I forgot to do it myself.
I forgot to do them myself. Look, it is what it is.
You've retired though, I think, have you? Is that what you're
yeah, no, look, I've missed 2 game weeks, so I mean, I've already kind of shot myself in the foot. But looking at the table itself, you're doing actually. Howard's doing pretty well. Dan, you're doing all right. Dan, you've come up a bit.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of one of them as well. Like where a few people start forgetting as well, so you kind of always try and go places.
As long as you take part, like you're halfway there.
Dan is just lurking around, kind of, you know.
As long as you get your scores and every week you get a few. Yeah, no, I think it was a tough week with some of the results there in the Super Six. It was hard to pick a lot of them. So I think nine was the Declan Carr. 9 was the most that anybody got this week. Like, you know, which is I'm just I looked there though. I don't think there was many correct scores at all. It was very much just given the weekend that was in it there, like there was a couple of draws. But yeah, Damien is still leading the line there. Yeah, Stephen Flynn second, Gareth Lennon. It's tight, like very tight there again at the top. And like that, if you have 1 or 2 good weeks in this, you fly up. If you can just get like a couple of correct scores, you fly up this league. So.
The Trevi, Moss, you're on 15, just behind Dan. So I mean, the Trevi are like 6 points in between the Trevi again. So I mean, you represent the lads. Fair play.
Yeah.
You know,
unlike some.
Unlike some. Let's bring it up a notch, though. You know,
it's inclusive, Howard. It's inclusive of all abilities.
Yeah.
Speaking of cabbages as well, like I'm a groomsman for a friend of mine there who's bottom of our league, Ronan Groom, who won't mind, like, but it's inexcusable. Like, I don't know how many weeks he's missed. Like, he's sitting there rotting at the bottom of the league. He's just an absolute Brussels sprout. Like, I don't know.
Very good. All right, last man standing. We'll end on this one. I made my exit at the weekend. Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. I wasn't watching it. I was I was kind of keeping up to date on the phone, and I saw Chelsea went down 1, drew 1-1, and then the red card. I mean, surely they're going to get a winner versus 10 men, but no, nothing. Record amount of shots.
No?
Yeah, I saw the highlights. It was crazy.
Like there were some unbelievable saves later on that game. Like, unbelievable. Yeah.
It could have gone either way. Like, it's ridiculous. You know.
But yeah, Ward-Prowse red card is one of my favorite.
So funny. So funny.
He was like, you could see him going, shit. The 30 minutes left. Feck it, they'll manage without me. And he just handed it the ball to him.
And the pace of Jackson, like Jackson was getting onto that. Like he was
straight. Now you wouldn't trust Jackson's finishing, but he would have got there. But the other thing I thought was very entertaining about that game was where they pushed Cucurella into Maresca, and there was this melee, and everyone's pushing and fighting, and just in the background is Cole Palmer sitting on his arse, rocking back and forth, laughing at it.
Not really sure what's going on, like, but just
ordering a chippy chip or whatever.
So they were saying he just stayed out of it, but sat there and could have observed like a ringside seat.
It's very funny. All right, listen, lads, we will
To
leave it there.
context, sorry, we got confused there. Sorry, just to clarify.
He's out. He's not the last man
so
standing.
the €500 and give it to me now and all the things you're saying, it's fine. Everyone else just give up.
I am gone, finished. My brother went out on Saturday. He had Newcastle, so they drew. So I sent a message to the group saying, "Good luck, Dave." And then what do you call it? The following day, what do you call it? I get knocked out, and he goes, "See you later, Dick," or something like that. So, but anyways, look, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about.
You'll be back, Dick, will you?
I'll be back once the next one's on. I've learned how to kind of navigate the fixtures, etc. So,
how many are left in it?
There's 19 left now.
19 left in it. Okay.
19 out of 350 plus. So, yeah. Again, as you were saying last week, it's going to come down to the nitty gritty stuff now, like the Crystal Palaces and the rough teams. All right, listen, we'll leave it there. International week. We are off next week. We're taking a break next Monday night, so we'll be back this day 2 weeks. When the Premier League is back as well. Ireland are playing Finland and Greece. Am I right in saying that?
Could be right.
That's how much I'm following.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
God, it's depressing, isn't it? It is.
It's horrible.
Depressing.
It's awful. It's really, really bad. But anyways, look, we'll probably keep an eye on it. Will you watch the games?
If I'm doing nothing, I suppose. Yeah.
Exactly. That's how that's where we are right now in Ireland.
Patriotism there for us, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, listen, man. Have a good 2 weeks, and we'll chat to you. 2 weekends time. Okay.
Right, Dave.
Cheers,
Thanks,
Dave.
Harry.
All the best.
Cheers.
Thanks a million.
See you
Cheers, lads.
Bye.
Good luck. Goodbye.